Hello, it's Joe here. Sorry to be a pest. Before I let you get on with this episode of Tastes Funny, I just wondered if you wouldn't mind rating us, subscribing, or all the other shit people ask you to do with podcasts. Or if you know anyone who might enjoy hearing our made up facts and opinions on stuff, please let them know about us. It's not like a check, but apparently it helps us reach more people. Or you could even just let them play through while you sleep, because it bumps the numbers up. Or if you have any recommendations for things you might like us to talk about, we do have plans to do that at some point, so you could let us know on our Facebook group, Taste Funny Podcast, or tweet us at Taste Funny Pod, although I never check that, so, but mainly, thank you for listening. We really appreciate you wasting your free time with us. That'll do. Here's the podcast. Taste Funny.
Hello, and welcome to the 19th episode of the Taste Funny Podcast.
Nearly the big 2-0.
Yeah, nearly as old as anyone that's 20.
Okay.
It is a podcast in which myself, Joe McLachlan,
And myself, Peter McHugh.
are tired.
Yes.
So, and we are going to be chatting about an album from one another's collection.
Indeed.
So
doing a bit of chat about it. But first of all, the traditional up top ramble.
Yeah,
I'll let you start this one.
Who's on your t-shirt, Pete?
Oh,
You said you wanted to talk
I did
about
say I
it,
wanted
so
to
I'm
talk
just
about it. Yeah,
very
thanks.
seamlessly
Thank you. Yeah.
seamlessly because it's an item of clothing. Do you get it? It's a good one, right?
So it's a daughter's top.
Daughters.
Daughters who are
Sexist when you have sons as well.
who are an American noise rock band who have been very, very quiet for the last 10 years.
Because that's a fucking shit. They're
No,
a
we're
shit
not-
noise
yeah,
rock
yeah.
band, are they?
Well, they have
Fucking atrocious
they
noise
released-
rock band if they've
they
been quiet for 10
released
years.
3 incredibly atrociously noisy albums, culminating in their self-titled album.
Daughters.
Yes.
Daughters by Daughters.
Daughters by Daughters.
Which is granddaughters, isn't it?
Yeah, and before that, Canada Songs and Hell Songs.
Okay.
So, and then that's where they left it. And I owned Canada Songs and Hell Songs, and then they just disappeared, and I never really thought about them again. And then they released an album, and it's fantastic. It sounds like the musical manifestation of stress and coming undone. It's kind of an indescribably terrifying album.
Do you ever wonder why you're quite sad sometimes, Pete?
No, you see,
I
I find stuff like this very cathartic for many reasons, Joe. But yes, because my life is a stressful hell at the moment, actually listening to something where somebody sounds stressed and like they're coming apart is weirdly cathartic.
To be fair, studies have shown, according to Andrew O'Neill's book, History of Heavy Metal, you should have a listen, guys.
Yeah, you should.
That people who enjoy extreme music, it's more,
happier, yeah.
You
You get all that aggression out. You
Yeah.
get all that sort of stuff out. That's very much. This album is terrifying. I would describe it as terrifying, genuinely a little scary. And it's not often that you describe music like that. I've never really said, "Oh, that album scared me a bit." You won't get what you want by Daughters is a bit scary and wonderful and lovely, and you should just go listen to it and see if you can tolerate it, because if you can, it's really, really good. But I also just wanted to give a quick shout out as well to another fantastic noise rock band from Ireland called Girl Band.
Good name, like it.
No girls in the band. They've taken a lot of heat for that. But they've released a song recently called Shoulder Blades, which is off their upcoming album, which I am very excited for. It's coming out next month. And I would also recommend that everybody goes and watches the video and listens to that song because it's amazing. Yeah, that's about it for me. Go listen to Girl Band, go listen to Daughters.
I have been listening to The Gruffalo and The Gruffalo's Child, read by Imelda Staunton.
I noticed it was on in the car earlier.
It was good, didn't it? The thing is, right, because I've heard The Gruffalo a lot of times. I read it a lot, we've watched it a lot. I have to say, so my favourite film is The History Boys. James Corden is in that, right?
Yeah.
Now, he's not a popular man in a lot of places at the moment. I do find him quite irritating when he's been himself. I think he's a very good actor, though.
Yeah.
And he is excellent as the mouse in the televised version of The Gruffalo, because he has this sort of he's like a sort of happy-go-lucky, like a bit of a wheeler-dealer, like he's just chancing his arm and he's getting away with shit. In the Imelda Staunton read version, the mouse is a fucking dick. What's also frustrating is that in the Gruffalo, the Gruffalo has got quite a thick Yorkshire accent, and that is not continued through into The Gruffalo's Child.
Do not adjust your TV set, by the way. This is a music podcast,
No, there's
not a critique.
What I do like, because
stories.
Julie Donaldson has done songs of The Gruffalo and The Gruffalo's Child, and the music from The Gruffalo's Child song is featured in the Imelda Staunton version.
Oh.
So that's nice, And I'm just, what else have I got in the car at the moment?
What else has Joe been listening to?
I've got the Mavericks album Trampoline, featuring the song Dance the Night Away. which is the song that made me want to listen to want to play the trumpet Did I tell you about this one already?
Pussy Riot.
The free Pussy Riot album that I bought.
You
Because it's
did
got
not.
The Hand You Hold by Louise Distress is on there. I bought that off Bandcamp for about £3, and it's like the funds go to Amnesty and stuff, I think. And basically, it's like a double album of UK punk bands.
Nice.
It's really good. You're welcome to borrow it if you'd like, because I don't know if that sort of shit appeals to you anymore.
No, I'd probably just grab it.
Also buy it. Yeah, buy it because it's for charity as well, and it goes to Anarchy and stuff.
Rat Cunt Disco.
I fucking love the name of punk bands.
Oh, hey, Leftover Cracker on here.
Yeah.
Oh, Burn Them Prisons. That's a classic. That's from Fuck World Trade, which has a terrible album cover, incredibly on PC.
Chumbawamba's on here, by the way.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah, Chumbawamba. There's a thing actually by the bloke Boff Whaley from Chumbawamba. Acid Drop. I like that. Wobbly Bob. I enjoy that name. That's a very Scar name, isn't it? The Smears, the Red Pills. I mean, the Red Pills is a bit. Zounderkite. Zounderkite are on there. Well, I say Zounderkite. I don't know if they are or is. It's Robin from Random Hands solo project. It's very just much more punky with no trombones.
Okay.
Random Hand are on there. The Infested. I mean, that's a fucking.
I know.
That's a very punk name, isn't it?
Crusty punk.
Yep. And Illuminati. That's one of my favourites. That's one of my
That is a
favourites.
fantastic name.
Yep, it's absolutely beautiful.
That's wonderful.
But I recommend everyone should go and buy the Amnesty International Free Pussy Riot compilation from Bandcamp. I also have Mighty is a rapper from Sheffield. I think have I talked about her before?
I think you've talked about her.
Yeah. I've got her album Mood Swings in here. I've got Mai's Sometimes Life's Cool. I've been really enjoying this album at the moment. I saw these guys supporting the Cribs in Wakefield a few years ago, and they were just the guy, the frontman is Scottish. He's been living in Wakefield for a little while, and he was just, the songs are really sad and beautiful and like really sort of just daft, jaunty indie. But then in between it was just like, I'm just so happy to be here. I'm just so happy. Like, what an opportunity to be here right now, and thank you all for just being there, for dancing, for no dancing. I just really appreciate it. Thank you so much. I loved it. It was Lewis Capaldi. It wasn't really Lewis Capaldi. Are you familiar with Lewis Capaldi at all?
Yeah.
I'm really enjoying him at the moment. Not listening to any of his music,
No.
but I like him as a person.
Yes.
Which, as we all know by now, is my main criteria for then going on to like somebody's music. So, without further ado, because by
Excellent.
fuck we've had a lot of ado this evening.
Yeah.
Jingle. Peter,
Hello.
what have I cruelly given you to listen to this month? Or this
You have
several
given
months?
me. Yeah, for however long it's been.
It's been fucking ages.
Was
This we could have done with getting this one out of your system, really, couldn't we?
probably. In
Quite
fairness,
well.
I took quite a lengthy break from listening to it.
Fair enough.
Yeah. So, what you gave me was an album by French singer-songwriter, multi-instrumentalist.
By the way,
Yeah.
we're really tired.
Really tired. Multi-instrumentalist Soko. I Thought I Was an Alien is the name of the album.
It's a lovely title.
I've just got a couple of little quick facts up top about Soko.
Okay, go for it.
So Soko, real name
Southern Comfort.
Stephanie Alexandria Mina Sokolinski, is a singer and actress.
Okay.
So she's actually been in a lot of French films.
Okay.
Lots and lots and lots. She has a really long list on her
Le
wiki there.
IMDb page.
Le IMDb page. I didn't look on
Le page de IMDb.
Yeah, that's probably how they would do it. She briefly dated actress Kirsten Stewart.
What, from Twilight?
That's the one.
Wow.
Yep.
I didn't know that.
Yep, there you go. And
That's a good fact.
She has named her child, are you ready for this?
Oh, God.
Indigo Blue Honey Sokolinski. What a fucking name.
That's a great name. To be fair, the last bit I sort of saw coming.
Yeah. Sort of, the writing was on the wall, so to speak.
Do you know Dido's full name?
Oh, please tell.
It is Dido Florian Cloud de Bonneville O'Malley Armstrong. I feel like it tails off towards those last two.
I feel like I understand why she went with just Dido.
Yeah, I like though that Dido is still her real name. It's not like it's short for anything. It's just her first name is Dido.
Yeah, well, I mean, apparently Stephanie Alexandria Mina Sokolinski has been going by the nickname Soko since she was a little child.
Can I just also one more Dido fact?
Go for it.
Her brother was in Faithless.
The more you know.
As you were. We're not talking about Dido though. We're talking about a different four-letter word who's pop star.
Yeah, Soko. So let us begin. So you gave me this album and you said, "Oh, this is a very, very sad album."
Yeah.
feel like it's a very moany album. I feel like Soko needs to like develop some ability to choose a partner that isn't wrong for her in every conceivable aspect.
It might be all about the same person though.
But I have generally noted down man/men because I'm never sure. I feel like a lot of it is about one guy. There's definite points towards it all being about one person. At which point I'm like, seriously, you needed 15 songs for this?
I mean, in fairness, Adele got 3 albums out of it, so
That's true.
at least Soko's only got 2 albums.
Yeah,
I've actually been enjoying the second one a lot more recently.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
She's been acting a lot since then. But in any case, let us begin.
Please, let's. Jesus.
I just want to make it new with you. I really like the drum machine. It's not even a drum machine. It's probably like a keyboard drum machine. It's
like a fucking Casio demo, isn't it?
Yeah, Casio demo, and that's across most of the album. When there is drums, it's usually Casio demo drums. There's a few instances of like live percussion and drum kits and stuff, but generally speaking, she tends to stick with the old from your Casios. And I really like the weird and washed out backing vocals, and there's sort of this warped, almost sounds like a small child, but I'm pretty sure it's just her just pitched up vocals. They're really cool, and there's loads of ambience in this track, like a lot of field recording sounding stuff over these sort of lo-fi basic guitar melodies that are really, really beautiful. And most of the lyrics on this song tend to revolve around the idea that Soko's sort of an unlovable person and that she's sort of shit at most things, which is probably a feeling that most people can identify with at least a little bit at some point.
It feels like for a lot of this album, it feels like it's kind of just tapping into the saddest bits of your soul. Like, she's probably not like this all the time, but it feels like this album is particularly designed for that.
Here's the thing, I really don't like her vocals.
Oh, mate.
Right off the top. I just...
You're going to struggle, aren't you, then?
For one track, I could see that almost on the verge of crying, breathy singing style being really impactful. But any more than that, and it's wearing. It's just like, can you just sing a note without sounding like you're about to bust into tears, please? It's not artsy, it's just sort of, you're just pandering to my, it's a sad song about sad things.
It felt very honest to me.
I mean, that's fair, and it's definitely a me thing.
Yeah.
It's not that I...
Are you trying to break up with this album?
Yeah, pretty much.
It's not you, it's me.
Yeah. It's not that I dislike...
Because Soko would really be sad about that.
She would be wounded to bits. She'd have to write at least 15 songs about it. It's not that I dislike sad songs or emotion in songs. I just feel like this is not the way to affect that in me.
Okay.
Like, I think Kimya Dawson's songs are often incredibly emotional and sad, and she almost does a similar thing with her voice, but she doesn't push it to the point that maybe Soko does. And I'm definitely getting ahead of myself here because I'm trying to get out in front of my own critique. Because really, I shouldn't mention this until a little later on when she really goes for it in a couple of the songs. But okay. I thought I'd head it off at the pass on that one. So the next track is I Thought I Was an Alien. This song's actually quite a lot of fun. This isn't so bad. I really, really, really enjoy the instrumentals on this album. If you could give me this album as an instrumental album, I would be all over it.
God, it'd be such a weird karaoke album.
It really would. It was such a weird karaoke album. But
Can I do I Thought I Was an Alien by Soko? I don't know. Have you drunk enough water to cry for 3 hours?
Yeah. I don't think this is a particularly sad song. This is just a song about being free-spirited and basically saying, hey, I'm a bit of a weird person, you should come do this weird thing with me, and seeing how people react. And yeah, she is a bit of a weird person.
It's from the perspective of a girl, like a mysterious French girl in a film.
Yeah. And you said like you liked freaky people. I like that line. I like a lot of this song. I really, really like the field recordings of birds in the background. I'm saying it's a field recording of birds because that's what it sounds like to me. Like, it's just really compressed and it's been a bit mangled. It could also be a synthesizer, but I'm pretty sure it's just like field recording. I'm pretty sure it's just like, leave a dictaphone on the table in the park and see what we get back sort of jobby. Jobby. It's really dreamy. The instrumental is just beautiful. Really lush and really... the guitars have this pitch shifted delay on them where they sort of every delay is slightly tweaked up in pitch, beep, 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 beep. And it works really well with the melody.
It feels very lo-fi, doesn't it? But I would be curious to know how much of it is like, because it feels possibly like it's a produced lo-fi.
Yeah, I'd say maybe that's another difference between something like this and maybe a Kimya Dawson record, where you can be reasonably assured that most of it was recorded on like a tiny crap microphone in a reel-to-reel, or an 8-track or something.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't really have a lot to say on it. I mean, that's going to be a running theme, I imagine, for the most part. But I can get into this one. It's a little sunnier than the rest of the album, let's say. So, with that in mind, let's plunge directly into People Always Look Better in the Sun. Easing into this track with the keyboard lead, into this heavily saturated lo-fi folk, really slow, sort of dirgy half-time folk track. And again, I'm really in love with this instrumental. It's the saturation, the whole thing just feels full, and it's all just hissing and crackling and just really no space left on that on the frequency spectrum. Everything's just, but it's really lovely sound. And I love the little strings and the toy piano, the washes of distorted field recordings that sort of whoosh in and out throughout the track. But I don't love the lyric or the vocal delivery. This is the song where it really got to me, because this entire song, she sounds like she's literally fighting back tears, and it doesn't feel authentic, because I doubt she got herself worked up so bad that she was about to start crying and then went into the recording booth and started recording. I doubt that very much. So she's putting this on. This is part of the act, and maybe the emotional connection to the lyrics is so strong that it's bringing it out. But I don't think so. And for me, it doesn't feel genuine.
I'm sad to hear that, because it's one of those things. Oh well, I'll tell you when we get to the song. But last week I had to ring you.
Yeah, you did, yeah.
I was listening to this album on the way home, and I felt so sad that I had to ring you to check that you were okay, if you'd been listening to it, because I was not okay. Because this one, for me, this album just leaps into my soul.
I genuinely think
it touches me in exactly the right
I would
ways.
almost be... I don't know, because the instrumentals are often quite cheery, and then it's the vocal content that brings the mood down.
But I mean, there's things like, like obviously... the fact that she records all the way next to the microphone as well obviously makes it sound a lot more intimate and a lot more. It's basically musical ASMR.
Yeah, and she does a lot of that.
I'm really sorry if that was really creepy, by the way, everyone.
This is the thing. Like, the more I was listening to it and going, where's the disconnect? I was trying to work out why I wasn't connecting with this album, because I absolutely adore Kimya Dawson. I really love people like Sole. I mean, Jesus Christ. You want a female singer-songwriter record to slit your wrists to? Go listen to a Sole album. Holy fuck. I mean, she does a lot more songs that are based around stories, but everything she does is eerie and creepy and sad. Sad, sad, sad. Maybe I'll play it for you later, but there's a song called... I think it's called Blackbird or something like that. Or is it I Will Find You? It's a song about two blackbirds. I know that much. About one of them loses the other blackbird and has to go find it. And it's brutal. Like, it's really sad. And she does a very similar sort of almost breathy singing thing. But I love her voice. I think it's amazing. And I just really struggled to figure out why these songs weren't hitting me the same way. Why I wasn't feeling it the same way, and I still don't really know.
Do you think it's because that one's about Blackbird is about animals?
No, yeah, and I just really love animals.
Connected with Watership Down.
No, because it's not. It's just a metaphor for love. But the whole.
Thanks, Pete.
No, well, you're welcome, buddy.
It's not even really a metaphor, is it?
It's not really.
It's literally just two birds who are sad.
Oh, stop it. Here's the thing: the naive lyrics of the French girl, and they are slightly naive, and that's cute. That has its own charm to them. The sort of the bad English almost, and the mispronunciations of words and things, that all adds charm, but for whatever reason they're just not landing for me, and I'll try not to say too much more about it now as we go forwards, much like you weren't going to say too much more about how riffy Clutch songs are, because yes, they're all riffy, and in all of these songs she sings mostly the same way, and it's mostly this thing, and it just bothers me.
Stuck in your craw a little bit.
Yeah.
I can see it's a little bit Amelie. I can see why, like, it's the sort of thing where, like I say, it's the kooky girl in an indie film.
Yeah, but normally I'm really into that though. Normally that's
well,
something
that's why I'm
agrees
slightly
with me.
surprised that this isn't, that you didn't connect with this, because
Anyway.
I thought that I was onto something here.
I I don't know. Okay.
On
Because-
paper,
but
this
yeah,
is
on
very
purpose,
upgoing.
but this is another one of those situations where I've said it before. Like, there's bands out there that I'm like, I should like you. Everything about what you do says that you are a band I should like, but I don't,
Yeah.
and I don't know why. But anyway, we'll move on because it's not all. I'm not going to just shit on the album the entire time. So, well,
That's
I
good.
say that I shit on albums I love. So who knows?
That's true.
We might be dead by tomorrow. This track is pretty clean and folky. Do you know what? Weirdly, it sounds a little ahead of its time, maybe for 2012. I think a lot more stuff that sounds like this has actually shown up in pop music more recently.
Yeah.
Um,
I think I discovered this song around because I was already vaguely familiar with Soko. I found an EP that predates this album.
yeah, there is one from like
From
2009.
with I'll
or
Kill
something.
Her, I think it's
Yeah,
called.
yeah.
Is on that, and there's a couple of others. So I found that EP, listened to it, really enjoyed it, never really looked into it.
Hmm.
And then when Lana Del Rey's first album came out, my wife got really into that,
Yeah.
and so she played me the first single, the one that made Lana Del Rey super famous.
Hmm.
And I think I then showed Louise the video for this,
Yeah.
having just rediscovered it,
Yeah.
because I fucking adore this song. It's absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah, so like I say, it does feel really sort of almost ahead of where it should have been. There's some lovely background details in this track again, like lots of. She seems to do this a lot, where there's little field recordings or little background recordings that are not really structurally important to the song. They're just there to fill out the background space in these fairly sparse, folky, guitar-y instrumentals. And there's some really lovely strings in this track as well. It's particularly, like I say, in the background, sounds like the strings are all tuning up. You can just hear them all squeaking away in the background, but they're not really. It's really low in the mix, so it doesn't overpower the song or anything, but you can hear it. But when the main strings come in this track, it's one of the first really heavy, impactful moments of this album. I really enjoyed that. The vocal delivery is better on this track. It really is.
It's a bit more actual song.
But a little more actually sung, yeah, which is something she does do a couple of times, and when she does it, so much better. So much better. Like, I actually think she's got a lovely singing voice when she sings, and doesn't just whisper at you.
Just
sadly.
whine in French. Like,
Yeah.
you know what, when like in a subtitle
Moans
film,
in French.
moans in French.
Yeah.
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 Le weeps.
Louis.
Je voudrais une cry.
So yeah, the lyrics I'll briefly touch on here and just say that they're heartrending. These are kind of some seriously upsetting lyrics in the song "We May Be Dead Tomorrow," about trying to love someone who's been emotionally wounded in the past and has sort of become unavailable and no longer able to really properly love anymore. Now that we're properly good and sad by track 4, it's no more home, no more love, which is already setting some sort of tone. So let's go. I really like the guitar lead at the introduction, and the vocals in this track are 100% better than previous. At this point, this is good for me. I can actually tolerate this. Keeping the song stripped back to just the guitar and the really understated keyboards is genius. It's so spacey and airy, and her voice is really allowed to shine then, because she's actually singing this time. Lyrically, this song is pretty good. Maybe the best up until this point in the album. Just talking about being a travelling musician, unrequited love and one-sided relationships, and just sort of a little chronology of her life for a period of time. And it's fairly short and sweet, which is, I wouldn't say all the tracks in this album are short and sweet, but a lot of them are definitely short.
Yeah.
I'll give them all that much.
She's the
a lot
Ramones of French weeping.
sort of, yes, 2 minute songs. I've got to stop with this. Moans in French. Okay, this is where we start getting really real. For Marlon, yeah, this song. It took me a little while to get annoyed at her voice. You've got to remember, this is like 3 months of me listening to this album and going, "Fuck, can you just stop whispering and moaning about?"
To be fair, this is one where I occasionally get into the mood for listening to this album, and then I have a couple of goes round it, and then I stop, and then I listen to it again in about 7 or 8 months' time.
You just top yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
So For Marlon, This I remember hearing this for the first time and it really sledgehammering me emotionally. Just being like, oh Jesus. But like I say, I think over time the impact of that hammer has been lessened by the fact that I'm just consistently annoyed that she won't stop whispering to me in anguished tones. So the whispered, half-spoken delivery of this track really isn't for me. But mixed in with the eerie keyboards and the field recordings of maybe, I think it's like a park or children playing or something, and the reverb washed out oohs in the chorus. The music is the perfect backdrop to the lyrics, even if like I don't particularly care for the way she's singing them. The music is so haunting and eerie and really wonderful, and the song is about trying to love a heroin addict, basically, just trying to love someone whose primary goal is not you. It's drugs. It's doing.
I could love you.
Self-satisfaction before the relationship, I guess. If you want to break it down that far and just remove heroin from the equation entirely, but that is what it's about. So yeah, all right. By this point, you're probably looking for that big jar of paracetamol that you stashed behind the fridge. But
I feel like that's a strange sentence.
Well,
big jar of paracetamol. Just keep it in a fucking cupboard like everybody else, you weirdo.
It's the I need to top myself jar, isn't it?
Okay, I feel like that's a little insight there.
I don't have a big jar of paracetamol, don't worry.
I mean,
you don't have to.
It's quite a specific thing.
It's because that's what my dad always used to say about my grandma, is that's why she had the massive jar of paracetamols, because she had like a massive sod-off brown jar, massive thing. And I always used to ask why she had a big jar full of pills. And I'd say, oh, it's a big jar of paracetamol in case she ever wants to top herself. And he was just being dark. It was just dark humour, but that stuck in there from when I was a child.
Yeah, okay. I don't think that's an expression, Pete.
I don't think it's an expression either.
I think that's just your dad.
I think that's just my dad. I agree with you. Anyway, now that we've all collected our big jars of paracetamol, let us move onwards to First Loves Never Die, or First Love Never Die. Yeah. First Love Never Die. That's two completely separate instructions you've given me there.
I think it's because she's French, isn't it? She's not pluralised it. First Love Never Die.
First Love Never Die. This is a great... No, I won't do the French accent for the entire
Do the whole thing in French accent, please.
No.
Do it now.
None.
Do the whole thing.
This is a great instrumental. No, this is already going wrong.
Yeah.
This is already turning into something
that's
else.
A spicy meatball.
Yeah, exactly. The Italian. Bella pizza. No. So I'll do it like a normal person, maybe.
I mean, let's be fair. The French are normal. It's unfair to say that the French are not normal people.
That is your opinion. This is
your opinion.
Once again, we are very tired.
Yeah.
This is a great instrumental, really great instrumental. Really beachy. It's a real, like, I can almost imagine being on a Hawaiian beach and hearing this sound.
Yeah. Which, given that the rest of the album feels like it's raining.
No, a lot of the album feels really bright and beachy until she opens her gob. It's got this really nice prominent organ and these lovely twinkly guitar refrains, and the song really opens up into the chorus. Something that almost reminds me of maybe something the Beautiful South might have done, with that sort of... You know, it's
just get it. I just need to say it out loud out of my head.
Go.
Prominent organ. I just needed to get it out there.
You see, you need to talk more while I'm talking, because you're being too quiet, and then this is what happens.
Yeah, I know.
Say things like prominent organ.
But it's hard to, because you read more. I just make about three. I just write 3 words down.
Yeah, that's true. I do sort of script myself a little bit, because otherwise I'd just gibber.
What, like I do?
Yeah.
Is that why yours are shorter? Because you've written it all properly.
I would recommend you try it.
I did try it and it sounded shit.
Oh, right. Never mind.
Look, my tangents are what make me.
Oh, yeah, no. Yeah, definitely. So, yeah, it's maybe something the Beautiful South might do. But honestly, the lyrical content here is pretty dull. I was already saying... I'll read this verbatim because I don't feel like I need to say it at this point. This is probably when I should have been coming in with my attack. But I was sick of you moaning about how shit life was 3 songs ago, love. The self-pity is too much. I want this album as an instrumental, please. And that's my thoughts on it. Moving on. Treat your woman right. That's not at all the melody she sings.
No, I was going to say
it would be a much more chipper tune if she did.
Yeah, it does sound, though, when you say it like that, it sounds like a Bob Marley track.
It does, yeah.
Treat your woman right.
Okay, so this is maybe the most.
Don't set her hair alight. Unless she's green, by which I mean weed. That's my best Bob Marley impression. Because if by woman he meant some marijuana.
I don't think Bob Marley ever did a song where he was openly like, smoke weed, kids. I don't think he ever did that.
Was that not him? Smoke weed every day. That was Bob Marley, wasn't it?
No, it wasn't.
It was Bob Marley. Smoke weed every day, man.
How are you just stereotyping?
Yes, I am. On purpose.
Okay.
Because I think it's funny.
All right. Treat your woman right. So this is...
No, never! Sorry.
And like I said, I've already sort of said my piece on her voice, but this is potentially the most egregious example of her over-emotifying her voice here. It basically sounds like she's on the brink of crying throughout the song, and I understand the artistic choice for doing that, but I don't really like it. But luckily, at least for this song, the dark strings in the background with the very forward bass and cello section of the strings really providing this really rattly and grumbly bass line to the song. It's really impactful, like especially with this sort of, like I say, there's the strings and then there's this stripped back guitar which creates this really great atmosphere. The bridge sections with the hummed vocals, it's beautifully dark, and it's maybe one of my favourite musical points on the entire album. I really, really enjoyed it. It reminds me of Soleil a lot. It reminds me of something she would do. That's great. But like I say, the lyrics and the vocals here are really what's putting me off. And I've just made a footnote here that good God, this woman has poor tastes in men/man.
I wonder though, 'cause like, I was thinking about this, the way that the lyrics are recorded, I would not be surprised if basically she had just been too sad to get out of bed, so they put a microphone on next to her on her pillow.
It does sound like that. It sounds like she was in such a catatonic state that they went, we'll just bring...
Honestly, it's one of those things where that's, for me, I think, taking this whole album, it's like in a musical where people just burst into song. This feels like, and I'm assuming a lot more work goes into it than it comes across, because I think it's probably produced to the point of trying to sound lo-fi. It might just be very lo-fi, but it sort of feels like they've made that a thing. And I wonder if there's an element of she like literally just hid under a duvet weeping and singing these songs and did it all in an hour.
Yeah, it almost feels like that could be the case.
Yeah. In which case that is probably less annoying.
Yeah.
But, like I say, it's not an album for all seasons, but it really connects with me. So.
Hey, that's no. I mean, like, just because I don't get that.
Just because you're a heartless fuck.
It's not that I'm a heartless. This is what I tried to say at the beginning. It's not that I don't enjoy music like this, or that I don't like sad songs or songs that deal with this sort of subject matter. It's just that for whatever reason, I could not.
Is it because she's French, you big xenophobe?
Yep, it's definitely that. So, how are you? That wasn't a question. It's the next song.
This is one it's another one of those albums I really don't know the song titles for at all.
So this is like not even a song. It's like 20 seconds of instrumental, and then she begins to say the word "How are you?" but she cuts off the sentence "How are you?" I guess, or the phrase, but she cuts off in the middle of "how." You get "ha," and then it just stops, and there's a lot of sort of nothing. I don't really understand what the point of this was. It was a nice little tune, but then it doesn't go anywhere. So nah. Next, "Don't Touch Me." Well, this is a nice turn up for the books, Joe. This is a lovely turn up for the books, Joe. Isn't this a wonderful song? Ooh, isn't it just? Well, finally a track with some cojones, with some balls on it. It starts much like the rest of the album, but suddenly there's some vicious stabbing rock guitars and some drums that really attack you, honestly. And I think probably because you've just listened to 6 very understated, relaxing, if somewhat sad songs about a French woman's love life, this really sort of wakes you up. It's like a real whoa, hello, finally something's happened. And the chorus really brings a lot of impact after. And I counted 9 tracks of highly restrained music. I'm really loving the Western vibes, like almost like a cowboy movie Western. Yeah. In the guitar sections leading into the second half of the song. Unfortunately, the lyrical themes really haven't progressed all that much. So Soko just can't seem to have a functional relationship, and once again, this is the theme of the song. And the crescendo in the back half of this track is really electrifying because it's so full on compared to anything else. Up until this point, everything else has been very subdued. Maybe on another album it wouldn't have felt so intense, but I think because you've had those 9 very somber, very whispery, quiet tracks, that the fact that she suddenly just is belting out
Like one of those videos you get where you're doing like a puzzle and then suddenly a big ghost sort of jumps out.
Yeah, it is a bit like that.
Except this time she's French.
But yeah, and from there we're going to move very swiftly into Destruction of the Disgusting Ugly Hate, another song I really actually enjoyed.
It's a good title as well. It's
yeah.
very Fall Out Boy.
There's some more really lovely Casio keyboard drums and Casio keyboard organ sounds. It's weirdly upbeat in tone, vocally and musically, despite the incredibly dark subject matter about self-harm and unrequited love. Once again, we're back to this. It's very common.
She was
thing.
having a very bad time.
She was
clearly having a very bad time.
A real rough time in her life, yeah. But that said, the chorus and the bridge, with its lush instrumentation, might be the musical high point of the album for me. Like generally, I think this might be my favourite song on the album. So we'll maybe have a clip of that bit of the song.
Destruction of the disgusting ugly hate. Destruction of the disgusting ugly hate. Destruction of the disgusting ugly hate. And now you're living, but can't you see? What have you done to me? You're leaving me back.
Well, that was lovely.
Yeah,
and
I love it.
lovely. And here is the next track. I'm not going to play it to you, but it's called Happy Hippie Birthday, which is quite a wonderful song title. So, a brief respite from the mournful self-pity, and we're straight back into it with this song. A song about loving older men and having a shit time of it.
I wouldn't have said older men necessarily. It was just the fact that it was his birthday, and she wasn't there.
No,
because
she
left her.
specifically makes reference to the fact
Oh,
that her age is 13 years from his age, and then she talks about her mum and her dad and how their ages were similarly disparate.
This is the song, by the way. This is the one I was listening to when I felt the need to call you.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I feel like because I think it's very specific about the fact that they've broken up and she's missing his birthday,
Yeah.
and like so it felt incredibly. Like it feels this one feels maybe a bit more specific and personal. For Marlon would be another one that feels like it's a thing that's literally happened to her.
Like for Marlon is very full on.
It's very hard.
That track's real rough.
Yeah.
Like I said, because even if I'm not a big fan of the vocals and I feel like I lose a bit of connection there, there's no denying the sort of the pain in the lyrics. And
the more specific she is about her experience, the more
Yeah.
relatable I think it is. Because the more you're like, fuck.
yeah,
hell.
you've read it.
And
Like,
this one specifically really
like
hurt me.
I've sort of been a bit jocular about the way I've perceived this album, and I've played up a little over the course of this conversation, but really this album is some raw stuff. Unfortunately, this track doesn't do much for me, really. I sort of just the bits I like the best are the vocal ooze in the background, because she does really good vocal ooze, really good reverby vocal ooze. Ooh. It sounds like something Kim Dawson or Soler might have done, and the wonderful dark strings again, these really dark, moody strings, and the weird ambiences in the bridge section, which have been pulled from maybe a field recording again or something. They're really nice, but overall it's not really ticking my boxes. So we'll be moving into I've Been Alone Too Long. That's just me saying that. No, it's the title of the song. The rotating arpeggiated guitar melody in the beginning is really beautiful, and in a weird sort of almost a part 2 to Happy Hippie Birthday, we're delving a little deeper into her daddy issues and the older men thing, and there's some parts in the chorus where she really pushes her voice past the cryy whispery stuff, and this is where I maybe really noticed for the first time how beautiful her voice is when she's really intently singing. Because I do think she has a really stunning voice when she does that. I really do. And I really wish with all my wishes she would do that more.
Mate, if you're using all your wishes on that, then you are an
wasting
idiot.
my wishes. She has.
Especially because realistically, if you wish for the same thing twice,
yeah,
it's not going to happen.
Yeah, that's not good. But sadly, those sections don't last very long before we come back to the sort of standard Soko vocal. Sokol. Why don't you eat me now? You can? ? It's a bit of an odd.
Also very Fall Out Boy.
Here's the thing, I can't take away from this woman's ability to really pen a bittersweet melody. She's uncanny. The staccato guitar plucking in this song is gorgeous, but the points that I'm really struggling with is just the barrage of woeful lyrical content at this point in these whispered, naive lyrics. We're now sort of 12 songs in and I'm done with your shit, Soko. I can't listen to you moan about how another man's fucked you over once again. Look,
Stop turning me hazards on.
I'm sorry, my knee's really fat. I've got my own problems, Soko. I don't have time for yours right now.
So you're saying that if I give you this album again in 5 years' time,
maybe that's it. Maybe it's a mood thing. Maybe if I was in a better place personally for me, maybe I'd be able to enjoy the
someone else's misery more.
Yeah, some Schadenfreude. Just be like, oh, shouldn't be dating heroin addicts, should you, love? Oh, no, not that. But
see, to be fair, just with regard to the naivety and simplicity of the lyrics,
yeah,
there's a bit of me that sort of, in a way, because I find this a lot with a lot of the stuff I like.
This is the other thing. I really like that in other artists.
Yeah,
it's another one of these things where I'm like, I like it when people do this. Why don't I like it when you do it? Why is this?
Do you think it's just the vocals then?
Maybe that's all it is. I mean, I am very picky about vocalists.
I know
It's one of my absolute pickiest.
And all your favourite vocalists mainly go.
That's not true at all. That's so far from true. All of my favourite vocalists, I would say, even in the ones that make those sorts of noises, are generally fairly unique vocalists. I really like Travis from Cattle Decapitation because nobody sounds like him. Nobody sounds like Dave from Analna Thrak. And those are like two of my most extreme metal picks. But nobody sounds like they do. They sound like they do. I don't know. Maybe that's my thing. I'm not sure. But we'll move.
Tell you what though, Travis doesn't do his voice.
How can you look me in the eye and tell me that you're proud of what you've done within this life?
Soko could easily be in
Cattle
Decapitation.
I mean, I would almost want to hear Soko covering Cattle Decap now.
We'll write to her.
Anyway, you have a power on me. This is weird. This song's very odd. It's just disorganised and wonky, and I've used the word naive again, and I'm sick of you saying naive, so I'll stop.
So you see how easy it is. She had to do a whole album. You've just had to talk about the album.
Yeah.
You're already sick of the way you're describing the album, let alone the way that she has written it.
I mean, this song is weird. I like it. This really does feel like a bit like a Kimmy Dawson song. It's so much more lo-fi and messy than the other stuff that it reminds me a lot of the stuff she does. The really jangly guitars and the children's xylophone sort of sounds like a toy xylophone maybe, and little bits of distorted, mangled speech, which I initially thought was like a speak and spell. But then there's a clip near the end and you can hear that it's her and that she's just like pitched it down and distorted it. And the vocals are really chaotic as well. It almost sounds like something we kept saying we were going to do and never did, which is talk about the Shags. Whereas I actually have listened to the Shags. Yeah. So I can say that, yes, this song does sound like something the Shags might have done, especially from the vocals. They're really, really odd. It's still missing something that I can't put my finger on. Much like the rest of this album is missing a thing for me, and I just can't pinpoint what it is.
That's really interesting.
Because the thing, like I say, it's one of these instances where I am about to be murdered by a flock of seagulls. Holy crap! How many seagulls is that? That's incredible. It's been a long time since I've been in Sunderland. I forgot.
Yeah.
Yo.
No, I don't think that's even all of them, mate.
Oh, I doubt it's all of them.
There's probably quite a lot more coming.
They can smell it. They can smell the fear. So yeah, I can take my notes off now. So it's just one of those things where it's one of those albums that I feel like it's ticking a lot of boxes for me that I usually very much enjoy. And like I've already said multiple times, I think from a musical perspective, from an instrumentation perspective, I really love this. I hear so much lovely stuff, and I really like. I love stuff that uses field recordings, and I like lo-fi, and I like a lot of the elements she's using, and the strings are always lovely. Whenever there's strings, I'm like, oh, those are lovely. But something.
Do we think that what it sounds like? It's the vocals, isn't it?
Yeah.
But I can't remember now because I'm trying to think. Because I think I said to you at the time when I recommended this, I wasn't as big a fan of her second album. It's a very different vibe. It's a
Yeah.
very, very different album. A lot more sort of electronic-y, poppy type stuff.
Okay.
Still same sort of vibe, but I
Yeah.
have a feeling the vocals are a bit more up your street on that one.
Oh, okay.
So it might be worth going back and having a listen.
I'll have a listen.
Because
Yeah,
I've been listening to that one a bit more.
So yeah, I'm not trying to. I really don't want to get too down on this album because
Because by fuck, it's already down enough by itself.
yeah, Jesus Christ, it's really depressed. No, this is definitely a my opinion sort of take, and it's not necessarily like I'm saying she's a bad vocalist or that these vocals are bad.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that I personally don't connect with them the way I wish I would, especially because the subject matter and the things she's talking about are so twisted and dark and really personal.
Deeply personal, yeah.
Deeply personal. Maybe that it annoys me more because of that, because I'm like, I really want to connect with these and I really want to feel this.
There is something really, really difficult, isn't it? When you feel like something is for you, and
Yeah.
you just aren't feeling it, and it's for some, you end up hating it. You end up not hating it, but you end up being so much more irritated by it than if it just wasn't for you in the first place.
Absolutely.
It's the same way when people don't like a comic, like a comedian, they will say that's not funny, as opposed to this isn't for me.
I don't find that funny.
Yeah. They will. That's what I'm saying. They'll just be like, nah, it's not funny. It's not comedy. It literally.
Sure.
I mean,
Yeah.
it is. It's just.
I mean, I've had to deal with that for most of my life, and because my mum's got a pretty good taste in comedy, my dad does not. So it's like if me and my mum want to watch something that we're like, oh, that's really funny. Like when the Mighty Boosh first came
Oh
out.
Christ, yeah.
Yeah, and like he just couldn't cope with it. He was just like, oh, I don't get it. I don't understand. It's not funny.
Yeah.
But then again, he's also like that about stuff that's perfectly pedestrian comedy. So he's just weird.
So
Should we do some recommends?
yeah, why not?
Jesus Christ.
Do you want to say it?
Jingle!
What do you fancy making me listen to this time, then, Pete?
Well, I believe you mentioned in a previous podcast, I don't remember which one it was, it may have been Melt Banana, but it might have been one of the earlier ones. I listened to a few of them.
It'll be one of the first 17, I reckon.
Oh, definitely. You basically mentioned that I kept mentioning Destrage and that I hadn't given you a Destrage album yet.
Yes.
So, for this month, you shall be listening to, or until we meet again, you shall be listening to Destrage's Are You Kidding Me No? It's their second album. I feel like it's their most musically varied album. I think you're going to friggin' adore it.
Okay.
At least lyrically, I think you'll be so in on some of the lyrical themes. Yeah, it's a progressive metalcore album, so have fun with that.
Okay. And what are we listening to lead us into it then?
Ooh.
Not thought of this yet, have you?
Some of the opening of Hosts, Rifles and Coke, please.
Right. Here's that earache then. Well, knock me down with a metal feather.
I mean, wow, that was not what I was expecting.
No, it wasn't really what I was expecting to be
You
honest.
just started saying words, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, so hopefully you'll enjoy this album by the fantastic Italian stallions that are Destrage.
I will look forward to it.
until
You speak
we
very
meet
highly
again.
of them. So
I really love them. They are possibly one of my favourite metal bands of the last 10 years. In fact, no, they're definitely.
Oh, I'm glad we've cleared that up.
Great.
Well, thanks for joining us again,
Yeah.
you three, and we'll speak to you soon.
Ta-ra!
Bye.
The Taste Funny podcast was presented and devised by Peter McHugh and Joe McLachlan. Music was by The X-Towels.
And mix that with the stripped back guitar, and you're creating this really great atmosphere.
Pete.
Yeah.
I'm doing a poo right now. I'm literally shitting my pants.
Do you need to go?
Yeah, I think I probably do.